You won't believe what happens next." Annie thought she was showing off her skills, but the prince didn't even see her face. Annie was accused of obstructing the transport of thieves, completely forgetting she was also on the take. Everyone thought she was about to be punished heavily until the prince spoke up. The prince actually demanded their release. Isn't it a perfectly ironic, a totally messed up ending? Annie hastily ordered her servants to leave, apologizing and feeling the prince was also an apology ambassador. The prince kept apologizing, almost like a broken record. He's a little self-reflection conference on two legs. Annie rushed towards the palace exit, but just a few steps later, the prince came chasing after her like a character in a video game, reminding her she also played the noble agent. He quickly switched topics, claiming he was the daughter of a duke from a neighboring country, only to accidentally reveal his location. "Ah, is that you refusing to tell me your name?" After a barrage of questions, Annie thought to herself, "Great, I've attracted a little clingy puppy." The prince looked puzzled, as if asking, "Do you have an issue with me?" "This is what we call overeating in the human world hilarious. Just give me a name, any name." He was so desperate, as if needing a name to save the world. "Just over there, not too hard at all." "Hey, Annie, you're such a cheeky one." Annie waved back to her mother, and in a flash, she disappeared from the prince's sight. What a little invisible detective. At night, the prince asked his mother about a mysterious name, but he probably wouldn't get an answer because this name confuses many. Anna's mother was indeed a noblewoman, and as for why she lived so terribly, that story is more complicated than a soap opera. The lady took a big disliking to Annie, thinking she was an alien stealing her daughter's spotlight. What a widow. It wasn't until the Duke had an accident that her hatred exploded. Talk about a "you leave" script. Having not acquired useful information from his mother, the prince didn't get discouraged. Instead, he thought of a brilliant idea, a noble gathering to find, but fate's gears seemed to shift on their own, and the two actually met in a short time, totally breaking the dimensional wall. The coincidence was truly mind-blowing. It turned out that the place he had come to was exactly in Anna's territory, where he was attempting to form a friendship with her. What an absolute dramatic twist of fate it seemed to be. "Are there only two of us?" the prince asked with a smile, only to hear someone say, "I'm chicken." After a near-death experience, the prince was definitely a cat with 9 lives kind of hero. He found his best friend and asked for advice. Should he continue hiding or burst out and shout, "Surprise!" Like a magician revealing a trick. His friend had quite the background. He was actually Da Vinci's star pupil, and the prince was left speechless. "I was just hanging out with the Earl of Nickencled today," shining brightly. Hearing this, the prince felt both delighted and shocked. "Do you know her?" "I need to find her." "Where is she?" "She's with her treasure. On a ugly giant, solitary in a specific location." The prince didn't hesitate and sped off on horseback. Seeing this, Annie immediately called for her friend. She was in a rush. "He's at my house. Quick, I have a suggestion." After a moment of hesitation, his friend's smile returned, and he dashed off to the manifold power ahead. The two pondered about meeting again, while the maids inside finally breathed a sigh of relief. Talk about a weight off their shoulders. The prince cherished this opportunity and decided to take Annie out, but then they hit a bump in the road. "Let's continue on our way, princess. We'll stay grounded and sincere." "I feel amazing." "And you?" Their servants were left behind to fix the carriage, turning into a comedy of errors. The two began walking, and suddenly a cliff appeared, revealing Anna's true tough girl charm. She climbed to the top to scout, but a gang of bandits appeared out of nowhere, and the prince went down like he'd just been knocked out. Knowing the odds were against him, the prince warned Annie and then engaged the bandits in a battle royale. Annie leaped to save the prince, only to end up as a hostage herself. Talk about unfair. The prince paused slightly. Let me go. He's one of my bandits. Surprisingly, these bandits weren't the worst. The bandit leader told Annie, come back and I'll give you a horse. Due to Annie, the two unexpectedly became friends. What a plot twist. Everyone watched as the prince was carried off like a star, truly a lift to the heavens moment. The bandit chief chuckled, gave her a horse, just as a friendly gesture. In the cave, the flickering light made it feel like a romantic journey, and the tension was thick. In the end, the prince couldn't resist kissing Annie, while the bandit leader watched and silently blessed them. What a love reunion. Riding the bandit's small horses, they returned to the manor late at night. Definitely an extraordinary bond between a puppy and a cat. Annie was extra careful not to get caught. Even her goodbye was on the down low. She couldn't let the prince find out she was just a housemaid. You've changed my life. All the stories were written for me, Annie thought, feeling so moved. The prince earnestly said, I'll wait for you until I can't wait any longer. Anna's heart was filled with sweetness. But before she could start dreaming, her wicked stepmother pulled her back to reality. What a sudden break. What do you think you've done? Wear my dress. Her absurd accusation left Annie speechless. They had long coveted Anna's mother's dress, and this time Annie really felt like a nervous thief sigh.